Welcome to Diversity Conversations, where we engage in thought-provoking dialogue to identify leadership solutions to today's most challenging conflicts. Stream live each week, Saturday 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hosted by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist and CEOs Eric Ellis and Tommy Lewis. Join us and add your voice to this engaging diversity conversation.
Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, the United States, and the world. My name is Eric Ellis. I'm the president and CEO of Integrity Development Corporation, and I'm joined this morning by my good friend and brother,
Tommy Lewis, president and CEO of Make It Plain Consulting. Good morning, Eric.
I always feel like you're coming out as a big basketball game. Tommy Lewis! Tommy, how you doing this morning, man?
Eric, it's a beautiful Saturday morning. It's beautiful. Once again, it's crisp, snowy, and icy. But I was so excited to wake up this morning, like every other morning, to just really celebrate life, celebrate a new day, and celebrate a new opportunity.
Okay.
And so that was my motivation for waking up this morning when I first woke up and put my feet on the floor. And that was my praise and worship this morning.
Man, I love to hear that, man. That's an exciting morning. You know, this morning was better than yesterday morning. Yeah. Yesterday, I got up. I had wisely parked my car at the bottom of our driveway because we had this, sort of steep driveway. And I thought, man, I had outsmarted all the snow and ice.
Yeah.
I was still buried in, bro. I had to shovel my own self out. I'm looking for kids and everything, the kids that used to come up down the street. We were those kids, 100 years ago.
Yep.
Nowhere to be found. Dig myself out, get to the office. Nothing had been, shoveled. So I had to park at Walgreens for a minute. And then I had to bust in my office. The door was frozen. I unlocked it. It was frozen. So I had to walk up the back steps, which I've never walked up ever. And they were creaking like, you about to be let go, bruh. Huge adventure, man. I was glad that morning was over, but I was, I like my routines, Tommy. I didn't realize how important, man, those routines are for me to kind of keep working. We got a lot of, we had some roof issues over the summer. Then they came and replaced all that. Then we had some internal stuff that was remaining. So they had to come in, get all of that down, scrape all the stucco from the interior roofs, now smooth it out. And I'm like, man, it'll be all month, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm in the basement of Integrity right now.
Are you
in my studio, actually?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Are you doing anything this morning in the studio after the show?
Well, you know what, Tommy, I might find myself a little inspiration, man. I like being here. As you know, I'm a huge fan of music. I love listening to music. And our workouts that my wife, my daughter, and I are doing now, we're going on a month of 4 days a week. We're all working out. And I'm grateful for that, man. And what I discovered, I think I mentioned it to you, that what I couldn't do sort of for vanity's sake, man, I found inspiration in being able to do it as a part of a team. So the synergy that we're getting from each other, because we're all looking at each other like, oh, God, it's the morning. Okay, we have to do this. And so, and we're having a ball together, man. So,
I'm happy, Eric. We know that it takes some repetitiveness to create a habit.
Right.
And I know 4 weeks ago when we talked, obviously you didn't have that habit, right? You even day one, right? Jillian comes in.
Right. Now we are finally, we're committed, and we've demonstrated a willingness to stay the course. And it's been, because each of us is a noise maker. So whenever your energy and commitment is low, somebody else is like, let's go.
Yep.
And so collectively, we are able to get past the lulls of an individual. And that's special, man. It's always some lessons to be learned out of that around organizations and what they can do if they're working as a team.
Yeah, Eric, I think this is a great segue as we introduce our guest this morning. And so the segue is about, really kind of where do we get our energy? How are we working out, if you will, both personally and professionally, to remain kind of mentally well as an individual, as a person, as a close-knit family, or as an organization. because in the work that we do, and then even in the families that we live in, Eric, that it can be overwhelming.
Right.
It can be overwhelming. And if we have the right family around us and the right people around us, like a wife or a husband and children, those supporters, friends, etc., they can create some energy in us, positive energy, that otherwise when we're in that lull and maybe have to go up the back stairs and not through the front like we used to, it's new, it's different, and it'll be okay. That's what these folks share with us. So
That's awesome. Go ahead and introduce your guest.
Yeah, let's bring in Takiyah Cunningham. Takiyah Cunningham. It's going to be an honor to bring her in and talk to Takiyah. Takiyah, as she's coming in, Takiyah is a human capital practitioner, and she's a diversity, equity, and inclusion professional. Been in the space for a while, and I know her. Eric, you know her, but in a previous life, she worked with a large, well-known nonprofit organization that does tremendous work in the area, not only here in the Southwest Ohio region, but across the nation. Mm-hmm. And looking forward to have her come up, right? Still bringing her up in the green room.
Right. I am not in my usual studio, so I don't have that capability. So I sent a little text to our producer to make sure that she can make that happen. So hopefully we will be seeing her.
We'll be seeing her, right? But in the meantime, again, I had the opportunity to partner with Takiyah. She brought me in her leadership role, and we were able to facilitate a series of professional development training sessions in the DE&I space for her organization's entire staff.
Okay.
And with that, Eric, we know that, sometimes, unfortunately, everyone is not always on board. Right. We would love people to be dedicated, be committed to equity for all. We would love folks to be inquisitive, to learn more about themselves and others. But in some cases, that's not the case. And so we were just working across, different. We were working with people along different paths along the same journey, right? But before we bring her up, Eric, when you think about your long history and work,
Brooke, we need the guest brought up if we can.
Yep. Oh, here we are. Okay, right. Perfect timing, right?
Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't close the curtains. Tommy, I know you had a brilliant question there, man, but you see I was preoccupied there.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
And Takiyah, sorry for those technical difficulties, right?
No problem. I was in the sunken place.
Yeah.
I'm watching. Like a dream. I can't get in.
Anyway, Takiyah Cunningham, it's good to see you this morning.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the energy, my brothers, that you all are bringing to this space. When Tommy first invited me to join the show, I had to do my research. Okay. And so I went back and listened to the podcast, and I'm kicking myself because I'm like, I didn't know that this resource was out there. And I take copious notes. So I have notes here, and I was talking to Tommy yesterday and rambling off. And on this episode, you all mentioned this. And on this episode. So thank you for this platform. This is phenomenal.
Oh, more than welcome. More than welcome. So we know we have a discussion, conversation, me and Eric and you. But tell us a little bit more about yourself, a little bit about your background, maybe even personally, professionally. Just let our community, who's always involved, right? Our community is always involved, and they'll chime in. But tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been in Cincinnati for about 15 years. So as you mentioned, worked for a large nonprofit, and prior to that, worked for the Urban League. So the Urban League of Greater Cincinnati was my first role here. And I will forever, ever hold just such high regard for that organization. And I tell you, being a new person coming to a new city with just my husband and my little babies, and the network that I was privy enough to know, that's just like, it's unmatched. So I got here and have that family, and then moved on to corporate America, worked for Centos, working in the DE&I space. And now I'm with Hillman Group, and working in the DE&I space. But, Tommy asked me yesterday about being, what is your title? And I said, Tommy, I refer to myself as a human capital practitioner, because for me, it's always about the people, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in my home, wherever I go. And, right now with all the technology we have, kids are growing up, and I think they're self-made introverts. They may not have been born introverts, but because of technology, it's this self-imposed state of mind that they're in. And because I'm a Southern girl, I go out and they're like, Mommy, you're always talking to people. Say, look at you, Mommy, you're embarrassing us. And I'm like, you miss that. The phone is fine, but that human connection is so important. And, Eric, listening to you talk about your family and your new workout regimen that you all have started, and the energy that you're getting from each other. I have 3 daughters, Dylan, Emery, and Mason, and Dylan is the oldest. She's 19. And Dylan is, she has a gift. So I feel like her gift is she's a healer. Whenever you touch her hands,
wow,
she has the warmest, I don't care how cold it is, if you're outside, if she touches you, this energy that she emits just in her space. And when Tommy talked about getting energy from your families, Dylan can bring me from 1,000 to 0 just by saying my name. So now I'm on to her. And when I want to be mad, because I'm very emotionally intelligent,
right.
I paid a lot of money for therapy. Look, so when I want to be in that space, she's like, Mom, I'm like, don't talk to me.
Yeah,
I don't need you to bring me down. I want to be here for right now.
Neutralized empowers. Neutralized empowers.
I'm like, stop it. Don't do it.
Right.
Like, okay, Mommy. And she'll walk away. But so, yeah, my girls, anyone who knows me, they know that my girls are near and dear to both me and my husband, Adrian. So, and we just celebrated 21 years of marital bliss, uninterrupted. And we can't believe it's been 21 years. That's when it is truly a blessing. And COVID didn't tear us apart. So we are just like
you're being cooped up together.
Exactly. No, when we finally went back, it was like, I miss you. Oh, what are you doing? We've been under each other all this time. So yeah, but just happy to have connections with Tommy and you, Eric. And it's an honor to be here today.
Well, we are grateful to have you, and certainly grateful to learn more about your perspective. But family, I think that we have to pause for a moment and just celebrate this moment of gratefulness, because everybody doesn't have what we have. And I would say the most valuable asset in anyone's life would be the gift of family. Yes. And, we all have a sort of a natural family that we're living with. But some people find family outside of their home and with others and with relationships. Some people, it's in the workplace. But I know I'm grateful, man, for what we have and the deep love. And the older I get, the greater revelation I get about the greatest success and the greatest value in all of our lives is what's free. And, and those people walking around me, I've even said to my kids in the midst of this pandemic, I said to one of my children that if you never did anything in terms of career wise and all those things, and if I could just wake up each day and see you, that's good enough for me. Yeah. Now, I want you to achieve that which is in your heart and whatever your purpose is in life. But I want you to understand where I am. I'm just grateful to see you, because as these kids go through all these challenges that you're going to help us talk about a little bit, COVID has brought a PTSD over everybody that we're not even, I don't think we're in any way aware of the impact that it's having on us. And so you've got to give people more grace, and you got to talk about what's real and what's present right now, and really sort of boost them up, boost each other up.
Right. And, Tommy and I shared with him this week, when you talk about the impact that this pandemic has had on us, it's the small things that you don't even realize that are impacting you. So if you're in a space and you prefer that someone wears a mask, and you see someone who doesn't have a mask on, you're automatically triggered. And you go to this place of, or if you're in an elevator, or if you're sitting in a movie theater, or in the grocery aisle with someone, and they cough, you're automatically, it's like something happens, like, oh my gosh, what, I'm going to get it. I'm going to grow a horn out of my head right now, or a third eye, or what have you. Just thinking about this pandemic and the need for so much empathy today, because everyone is not where you are as an individual, but where they are. How can we really put ourselves in their shoes to try to understand why they believe what they believe? Why are they handling the pandemic in this way? Why do they feel a certain way? So, just doing this work of diversity, equity, and inclusion for so many years, this has really taken me back to first base.
Yeah.
To relearn all of the things that we continue to, share with others. You should be empathetic, emotionally intelligent, recognize your biases. I'm having to check myself a lot these days and say, hey, it's time for you to really practice what you preach. And we are in uncharted territory.
Yeah.
So there's no blueprint for what we are enduring right now. So it's just been a very interesting time, and a lot of time for a lot of introspective, time for introspection, and just every day, before my feet hit the floor, I'm like, Lord, just, thank you for another opportunity to attempt to get it right today.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you. So if we are, trying to have self-reflection, trying to build some empathy, grace, and we are either in environments or in our workplaces where we see and observe people who are the bulls in the china shop. So they're just full throttle, everything's new, but they're wreaking havoc to everything and everybody. And they don't care. They don't care. They tell you they don't care, right? How do you deal with these people who are, in some cases, they are creating some of the tension, the stress, the anxiety, the mental illness? How do you deal with these people?
I think that going back to what I said initially, just having that human connection, having conversations with them, thinking about, when I sit down with this individual, it's not about me. It's not about me trying to mold this person into who I want them to be, or to have them behave in a way. I don't want a robot, but I want to understand where you're coming from. So let's have a conversation. And I typically do that. I call it a Jedi mind trick. So, which you all know that's not the case. We know, in order to diffuse the situation, I try not to schedule these formal meetings. Let's meet at 9:00 to have a discussion about your behavior in said space. But hey, if you're on Teams, I see that they're green, the light is green. let me call you on Teams. Let's have a conversation. How are things going? Getting to know that person a little bit more, because most of the time, now you have people who are just obstinate by nature.
Yeah.
And some of those people are just, no matter what you do, that's who they are. But when you really listen to the crux of the issue, they feel as though I'm not being heard. You want me to get vaccinated. You want me to turn in proof of my vaccination with, submitting my card to this company, but I'm scared. I don't know what that means. Are you watching me? Does this mean that if I turn this in, then I'll have to now share more of my health information with you? And some of those things I don't want anyone privy to. But they don't know how to say that without being that bull in a china shop. So what you have to do, or what we have to do, or what I typically do, is I just start with a conversation, and you are listening to what they're saying without them saying it.
Yeah.
So you're getting more understanding. You're seeking to understand those individuals. And I'm not saying that that's easy. You all know that that's not easy. If it were easy, we wouldn't have the conversation of DEI. We would just wave our magic wand and we go out and, we'd be able to solve all the issues of the world. But I think that a lot of the things that we are dealing with is, some of it is breakdown in communication and really trying to understand where others are coming from and helping them to articulate their feelings and their fears in a more productive way.
Yeah, I got another follow-up and go to Eric here. I completely understand and I get what you're saying. And as you were talking, Takiyah, I was thinking and just reflecting myself that over the last couple of years, COVID, maybe even pre-COVID, I have found myself, and I believe I'm introspective, right? I have found myself, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in and month out, kind of moving along, just doing the work, doing me. And then every so often, I stop, I look back, and the china shop is wrecked. I am the bull. Right.
Right.
So I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right.
So I need your help here, and maybe anyone else listening and watching. When we do our own self-reflection on ourselves, not just at work, but in our personal lives and our own being, and we find that we are wrecking things, that we may be kind of, taking on a lot of stress, a lot of stuff in our spirit and energy that we ourselves are mentally not as strong as we used to. What are your thoughts around addressing the bull in me? Right?
That's good, Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy, that's such a great question. And, for all of us, and I said it at the beginning, at the top of the call, for me, I paid a lot of money into therapy.
Yeah.
And I'm not embarrassed to
Right.
say it. It's time for us to normalize being mentally healthy. And some of that is talking about the need for mental health. When we are the bulls and we're acting out and we don't know why, calling on your family, the family that Eric talked about, maybe not your husband or your partner or your kids or grandparents, but who are those people, your peers, your peer mentors? We all should have peer mentors, because we can make ourselves right. When we go into those moments of introspection,
Yeah.
I'm right because I'm doing this, because we can rationalize strange behavior all the time. But who are those individuals that we can call on that they have no judgment? I'm not concerned about being judged, and I can call you and say, you know what? I haven't been myself for a while. I feel as though I'm spiraling. I hear that a lot nowadays. I'm spiraling, or I've hit a wall.
Mm.
What can I do? And we really, really, really need to normalize. Again, I can't say it enough. The young lady who committed suicide last week, Chesley,
Right.
Miss USA for 2019.
Right.
I read an article that she had written. I read an article just last night, actually. And she talked about being labeled as the oldest person to receive that title at 28. Now, for us, at 28, I'm thinking,
Right.
Miss
Right.
USA. But she had that title. And we are in a world where aesthetically, we're expected to look a certain way. So we are getting this work done, and we have the filters on our phones and all of these things. And we're expected to, for women of color, Black women and other women of color who have coarse hair, you know, the fact that we are still talking about bills and laws that will allow us to wear our natural hair the way it grows out of our scalp, to wear that in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked about all of this, being on that stage with this big hair, and turning 30 was such a huge thing for her, because she felt as though in this world she was getting old. Now, reading that article, some individuals may say, oh, she was very shallow. She was so concerned about, you know, her looks and all of that. But I heard what she was saying.
Yeah.
Without laying it out.
Yeah.
And what she's saying is, in my world, I can't relate to that. I'm not Miss USA, and I didn't have the notoriety that she had. But in her world, those are the things that matter, being on television and all of those things. I don't know. We don't know why she took her life. But I would venture to say the fact that, and I have a tendency, I will internalize things like this because it's really, really sad.
Yeah.
Because when you look at our kids, and I see someone who is a reflection of myself, and I have 3 daughters, so I'm always trying to be on top of some of the things that, or as much as I can, the things that are going on in society today, the things that they have to deal with. But you hear people say, I had no clue.
Right.
What happened? Even her mother, I didn't know. That should never be the case.
Right. Right.
You never think that someone is going to wake up and take their own lives, but it should never come as a surprise that someone has been dealing with mental health issues.
Yes.
Right. And I would add this, so I'll tie a couple things together that you've talked about now. So I've run into a number of, especially African-American females, that have been devastated by her committing suicide. And I think that in our work, our job is to be sort of help people to look at being other focused. And then you talked about the importance of counseling. And in many ways, that's helping us to be understanding, gain a greater understanding of ourselves. And I think that that's huge, that people are not spending enough time even knowing who they are and why they operate the way that they operate. I certainly have, because of what we teach, I've gained a greater appreciation for taking ownership to who I'm bringing to the dance. And I think that that's important. And it also is something that I then take a look at when people are reacting and acting in certain ways. And I'm trying to look deeper than that. And given where we are right now, I make an assumption almost that anybody could be quietly contemplating suicide. And so I have the mindset, what do I need to say now? I don't want to be sitting around saying, I wish I would have known. Mm-hmm. I'm about to assume that this is an option in your mind, that you could think to end it all. And so how do I, and so I've gone back and done some things. I said this on this show before that, I've talked to my kids and said, you know what? I reacted the other day and I know it was anger, but let me tell you what I was really feeling.
Yep.
I was feeling sad.
Mm-hmm.
I was feeling hurt. I was feeling scared around something that might happen to you. And I apologize that it came out as because I didn't learn. I never learned how to say I was sad. I never learned those words. And so, but I want you to know that underneath all of that is my deep love for you. And there's nothing that I won't do. And my kids will say, hey, I just had to do that the other day. My son asked me to buy him some pants that didn't hold on to his stomach because he's having some, issues there that he's worried about, And it seemed almost trivial, and I played around with it for a minute. And then finally and then I had to explain it. I said, hold up. Let me tell you what just happened there. Mm-hmm. My grandfather used to do that all the time with my grandmother. Whenever she asked him for something, he just, woman, he would just go off into one of those. Mm-hmm. And I'll do that even when my mind has no opposition at all to what you asked for or said.
Wow. I'm
just sounding off because that's what guys did in my family. They just sounded off. My wife would ask me for things sometimes, and I'm just like, hold up, what are you trying to get? And then I say, girl, you ain't got to ask for nothing. You run this thing. But if you ask me, then I go into grandpa. I go into grandpa like, hold up, let me see. How the money doing right now? All of that. So you got to explain that foolishness to people so they understand, bypass all that. That ain't nothing but noise. And I apologize if it comes off the way it does, because this is where it came from. Mm-hmm. And certainly I'm not trying to, explain that away. I want to apologize for that behavior and try to change. But in the meantime, if I'm slowing the uptake of change, help me to understand.
And Eric, you said so much there. Tying things together, going back to the people in the workplace that Tommy mentioned being bulls in a china shop. They may not know that they're doing it. They don't know why they're obstinate. They don't know why. Because if you ask, so what's the concern? I don't know.
Right.
Because that's a learned behavior.
Right.
That's a learned behavior. But also, to your point of not discounting or just minimizing the feelings that your son had, and taking the time with the work that we do. And it's not, we're not in a triage unit. So we recognize, the medical personnel and everyone else who's on the front lines. We spend a lot of our time giving our energy to others, just like you said, being so other focused. We're going to focus on you and teach you how to think about your fellow man. But how can we be fair to them if we are not taking care of ourselves, because we can't be our best and give them everything that they need to be successful when we are half-stepping on our personal health. So it's just like when you say, I hear my friends say, self-care for women. Women need self-care. After the video of George Floyd focused, living in the house with a Black man who is 6'5", 300 something pounds, who just by his stature alone, before he opens his mouth, will scare anyone who is not ready for it. Right. Hence, i.e. the little boys that want to come around to see my daughters.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a plus there. But then to individuals who view him as a threat. Mm-hmm. Now, here he's outnumbered with all the females. So, here he's dad.
Yeah,
and he's
just work him over. Hit the soft spots.
But out there, he's viewed as a monster, just as both of you are.
That's right.
And when that happened, and we had some conversations. I was going out having conversations with everyone else. But because this is my husband, I took for granted, oh, I know how he feels. I get it.
Right.
And when that happened, I had to sit down and say, how does this make you feel? How does it, are you really afraid when you go out? And he said, yes. He said, if I go out at night to put gas in the car, or if we want a soda and I have to go to the gas station up here, if I have on a hoodie, I can't put my hood up. I intentionally put my glasses on. So that I'm not intimidating anyone.
Come on.
I hear the calls in the stores that we go into. If I'm the only one on the aisle, I hear all of that. And he's been internalizing this for so long. And then COVID hit. And here again, now we have to wear masks. So that makes it even worse for our Black men and other men of color. Because you're already intimidating, but now I can't see your face. I can only see this. So now you have to go in and do things in other ways. And typically, you know, our Black men, and again, other men of color, are not out just laughing and jovial all the time. That's just not what's innate. That's not typically our DNA. So what do you all do, you know, for your mental health as Black men? Because we focus a lot on women. We're talking about Chesley, and that is important. And I know I'm the guest on the show, but I think it's also important to hear from you as Black men to normalize mental health and seeking help as this is okay, because it happens in our communities as well. And if it's not suicide, because that is the worst case scenario, but how is it demonstrated in some of our day-to-day or some of your day-to-day interactions with your families and friends?
Let me take a shot at it and say that's part of the gift of Tommy and myself being together over the last 4 years. We never, ever, I think, anticipated what an amazing gift it would be for us as two professionals and entrepreneurs to be able to come together and to take the mask all the way off and tell the truth to each other about what it's like. Because in the world, hey, all is well. I mean, so you got to be smiling, you know, or you're intimidating and scary. You've got to be doing well, because if you're not doing well, then you probably don't have any business, so we don't want to work with you. If you're doing too well, then you've got enough, we don't want to pay you. So all of those things. And then if you're complaining, complaining guy. And so all of that packaging that you have to put to sort of hit the right balance of personality, smiling, happy, moderately successful, all of that, then you may lose yourself in the midst of that. But we have been able to sort of pull the curtains and say, man, how you doing? Man, I'm doing fine. I'm not doing fine. Hey, man, listen, I got this. You got this. You know, we help each other out and all of that. And then we can get back on the stage of life and do it like that. But I also carry some real reality into my boys and my daughter. But my boys, because life can send a message to them that makes them feel unsuccessful. And so you have to let them know who they are, and you have to tell more truth, appropriate truth about what your life has been, because they're seeing you on a stage. They see you back from a stage, and you look like, I didn't realize this, you look like a high bar to try to meet. And I have to bring that bar down and say, no, that's what's on the camera. That's what's on the resume. That's what's when I'm smiling in public facing. But you need to understand that there's another story that I am still overcoming. And I think that as you do that, you give them the confidence to be okay with themselves today while striving to get to whatever their purpose is for tomorrow. Last word I'll say is that as parents, we have to sometimes, I tell parents, people that their kids ride our boat for the first 18. After that, we got to get on their boat. Whatever rickety canoe they on, we got to jump right in that thing with holes in the bottom and everything, jump on it, because it's not our dreams. It's not our plans. It's not our future that we have to really try to facilitate. We have to really try to facilitate them achieving theirs.
Exactly.
Yeah, Eric, great point, and an excellent question. And thank you for your question, Takiyah, for real. Because I don't know if that's this question from a guest or, kind of, we've had dialogue, but I don't know if this has happened. I will say this for me. Even yesterday, working with a client out on the West Coast, and been working with them for about 6 months. And now we're at a place that, and they offered it up to me, and I agreed. Is there an opportunity to come and work in person? I said, absolutely, right? And so as I'm taking a look at some flights, this particular location is a little rural, right? And there's not many flights. And so I'm looking at the date, I'm looking at a day and a half, and then I have a critical appointment on this third day. I submit to the client initially, I can make it out. I can leave this evening, 2 days before. I can be with you that full day, and then I can, transition out early on that third day to make it back. I'm looking at the flights, and they're 10-hour, 12-hour flights with 1 or 2 layovers. It is impossible for me to leave Cincinnati, get to the site, do what I need to do with some sense of integrity, right, and get back. So I am feeling embarrassed. I'm also feeling like I just kind of told them I can do it. At the same time, now this is the second time I've said I can do something, and my blessings are full. My schedule is full. This is yesterday. My wife is looking at me, and she's like, she just jumps in like a bull in the china shop saying, "You want to go to the movies?" Right? I'm like, yeah, whatever. She's like, what is whatever? She's like, I got to go out west, and then I got this deal. I tried to get the deal in Cincinnati to reschedule. They've had this on the books for 3 months. They've already sent out the promotion. I'm stuck.
Right.
And I heard an Eric Ellis conversation with me yesterday.
Wow.
And Eric Ellis, one of those voices, said, we just can't be everywhere. That voice lifted me up out of some self-prescribed depression.
Right.
Because I was in the mode of always delivering. As a Black man, we have to be perfect. As a Black man, we always have to be available. As a Black man, we always have to be on for our families, for our work. We got to go out and hunt.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm trying to hunt, but I can't. So I heard my wife coming in, bullying like, hey, forget about this. Let's go to the movie. I hear Eric Ellis and I hear you. This is 3 times. Takiyah Cunningham coming on. Hey, listen to yourself. So now I'm at a point right now. If the client says we can't make that change, I'm going to have to say, I can't do it. I can't. I have to be healthy.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
I can be bad for them and then bad for here in Cincinnati. I can be bad for everyone and bad for me. I got to be healthy.
Right.
Thank you, Takiyah.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
That is what both of you said. I've learned so much. So I secretly used you all as my therapist so that once I go back for the rest of the day with my with this Black black man in the house, I don't know what to do. No, but but really, that is powerful. And think about how many people you all have touched today, because as Black people, we have, that's ingrained in us. You have to be better. You have to be 100 times better. We can't be mediocre. We can't just be baseline. We always have to be better. So you hear that voice going on. And then, just as you said, as the Black man, you're the head of the household. You're supposed to take care of everything, no matter what happens. And it's like the snow that Eric was trying to dig you just keep piling it on, just keep piling it on.
Right.
And you're walking around like this and you don't realize it.
Right.
But we have to I can't, and I know I keep saying it, it's more than one touch point, more than two touch points. But to everyone that's listening, we have to normalize being healthy and saying, just as Tommy said, hey, I can't do everything. I'm not a superhuman. I'm a human being with the greatest of intentions, but so that I can be a person of integrity. Because if you had flown out there, Tommy, you weren't going to give them your best, because you're thinking about all the other competing responsibilities that you have. So then they say, oh, he came out and he was garbage. Like, we paid this money and he flew out here and he should have stayed. But then you explain to them you have something else going on, and if we can reschedule, because I want to bring you my best, be the best person I can be.
Now, Takiyah, I'm going to say this, because you done sparked something now that I didn't anticipate would be sparked. This whole notion about Black men talking to Black men as well. I was just thinking about this, because I'm learning about how big I am as the lion in my family. And I didn't know that when I roar, everybody's like, and that sometimes when my wife has to raise her voice and everything, she's trying to anticipatorily match the strength that I bring into that house. I'm wondering why she's coming so hard. She's just trying to rev her engine up to match this hurricane that she lives with sometimes. I didn't see it that way. You know what I'm saying? But, my daughter was facilitating something between my wife and I, which was lovely. And I said a little something, and I said, whoa, she was about to jet. I was like, whoa, hold on now. And so I say that, Tommy, what's so good about Tommy and I having each other is that neither of us are yes men for each other as well. Right. I find that too often men have yes men friends who just, the Bible says that, we don't even open up the door about submission, but it talks about men loving your wife like Christ loved the church. That's the part I think that we have to really bring to the situation, bring to our family, that kind of love that humbles yourself, to never allow that lion, sort of that external lion, to come at anybody within your house. You have to display to them something greater than that. And I think the only way that you get that done is if you have some great counsel from professionals, but also from friends that you haven't just, stacked the deck with yes people that can't help you. They're only reinforcing what your egocentric mind is telling you about how unwrong you are. That's not helpful.
And the fact that Tommy can say, I remember that Eric Ellis conversation.
Oh yeah.
That's powerful.
Right.
And we don't recognize, how we are helping our friends when we're just doing what we do because we care.
Right.
But when you talk about having yes people around you, and I am very big on energy. Energy is huge. We are just all balls of energy. And I tell my kids all the time, which is something that I know, energy is transferable. Guard your orifices, guard everything about you, because I've seen them come into the home and they're acting out, and I can see, I'm like, you are not
right.
my child. I don't
Right,
know who you
right,
picked up
right,
along the way.
Right.
Now, Black Mama comes out and say, "You better take them back because."
Right.
But
Sometimes
to help,
we must roar.
exactly. But really, and we have to do the same. So when we are choosing our circle,
That's right.
when we are choosing the peer mentors and those that we're going to converse with about our issues, we also have to be mindful to guard our energy. That is so important.
Powerful. Tommy, I saw you had something there, man.
No, we just see. I know Takiyah has some other
Right.
engagement.
Oh, girl, we need you for a couple hours. What you doing?
She came in and cooked it up. I gotta go, but we will definitely have Ms. Takiyah Cunningham back, and so that our community is aware, and you all are aware. We say this to a number of different guests that we have to have them back.
Oh yeah.
And oftentimes we do. It's just a matter of scheduling and timing and things like that, and then also to continue the diversity of our conversations. But our community means so much to us to grab a Saturday morning, 9:30 to 10:30 Eastern time, to listen on their laptops, tablets, cell phones, go to the podcast and revisit it afterwards. We want to thank you. And then what Eric often says, that this platform is capturing our energy, our thoughts in infamy. Right? That the next generation can look back and actually see us.
That's right. You're a chapter now in this conversation.
So with that being said, thank you.
I am so honored to just to have the invitation and to listen to this conversation. And I just really want to say that what you all are doing, what you're demonstrating is phenomenal. So keep up this platform, please.
I want to send you off with this, that there is the energy that has come from you this morning is beautiful energy.
Thank you.
You have a beautiful face, but more importantly, that you have a beautiful story that is exuding out of you that represents your family well.
Thank you.
I can feel the beauty of your relationship with your husband and your relationship with your children. And people need to hear us declare that, because there are so many images that show us in stereotypical fashion. You came on this morning with some swag, with some confidence, with some power that was beautiful to see and to experience and to feel. And I just want to affirm you and thank you for joining us this morning and adding some tremendous value, your knowledge, your gift, your voice to this diversity conversation for us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I am going to jump off because I can't be everywhere.
Yes.
Bye, girl.
Well, thank
all
you.
right.
Thank
you
you
all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.
Absolutely.
All right, bye-bye.
Absolutely. Dr. Lewis.
Yeah, once again,
Yeah,
I will say this, Eric, that over the last 4+ years, doing this show, and not just the show, it's the conversation.
Right.
Having this conversation every morning, engaging others in person by way of guests, engaging others, virtual by way of our community members. Time and time again, Eric, is becoming therapeutic.
Yeah.
It's energizing for me, and I'm sure for you.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And then I also want to say that, even my story about hearing your voice,
right?
I actually know exactly when that was shared with me. I do, Eric.
Right.
On the golf course, and I know the hole.
Right. Wow.
I do.
Right.
We're in the golf court in the golf cart. And this time, we always talking.
Right.
And we talking fast.
Right.
And you said it, and you hit on the screws, literally.
Right.
I was like, yeah. It was real simple. Like, I can't be everywhere. Right. And what I've learned from that, Eric, in my closing comments, is that two things about me. I've learned that I can't be everywhere. My intentions are good. My blessings that afford me to be who I am and offer my gift to other people is being recognized that people want me to be at the table. That's one of the main purposes that I have for life. I just want to be at the table. And then part two of that is that over the years, Eric, I have been apologetic for not being able to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm learning not to be as much apologetic, but simply be more transparent to say I'm unavailable versus overbooking, overpromising, under-delivering, and having to apologize, right? And now in reflection for yesterday, I was worried about the client saying, you said you can be there on that day, and now you're switching to say you can't be there on that day, but you can be there literally 2 days later, which I can.
Right.
2 days later, I can be there. I'm turning it over to them.
Right.
I can't be there on that day.
Right.
Right. And
right.
You know, and that's what it is. And you know, so
it is what it is. And I would say this too. I want our community to hear me say this. Kendall, man, great to have you with us this morning. Dion, I love you. I put up a post about Dion's grandmother, on Facebook and LinkedIn. But Tommy, I want to say that your voice matters to me as well, and I hear it in an affirming way. I think that so often it feels good to people to be seen as the mentor. You and I model what dual mentoring looks like. We go back and forth mentoring each other, man, providing wisdom and insight to each other that's helpful. Sometimes our input helps us to bring our own self down, our own energy down. Sometimes our mentoring helps us to build ourselves up, to understand that we're accomplishing a lot in a difficult world. There's not very many people that can give you and I that encouragement.
Right.
We get to give that to each other, man, because we live in a world of expectations where it's always like people want to make you feel like you're perpetually not achieving those. So if you're not careful, man, you can be discouraged all the time because you're not meeting all the highest expectations that everybody has for you. But when you and I get a chance to check notes, because we aren't yes men, we also get a chance to affirm each other, man. And I don't know why people don't think that leaders, that men need affirmation too. That's important. And then we certainly know that we want to give that to everybody in our circles. But I appreciate that about our relationship, man. It's been a gift in the midst of a busy life. And our lives are so busy that there's all kind of pressure that says, can you guys keep even doing this? You got 1,000 things to do. And I think the thing that allows us to hold on, man, is what we're getting from each other in our friendship.
I agree. I got to shout out real quick. I know we're closing out the show. Obviously with Dr. Kendall Wright, obviously that you mentioned, and Dion Goins and the Goins brothers. I ran into the brothers not too long ago. And we don't run into each other often, right? We're all busy. We're all blessed, doing our things, always encouraging one another. And we go back 30 plus years.
Right.
And when I'm going to say this on air.
Right.
So I see these brothers. We slap palms.
Right.
It's
Pretty
all
boys.
good.
Yeah,
man. But I got to say this, man. See, I was a baller, a basketballer.
Right.
These two brothers could hoop for real.
Oh, yeah.
So when I saw them a few months ago, give or take, we slapped palms.
Right.
And I remember when they blocked my shot.
Right.
I couldn't win.
Right.
I laugh at it because I was like, oh, that's the standard.
Right.
These brothers can hoop.
Right.
And I'm doing my thing on this side.
Right.
Go to the hole with my best move.
Right.
And they nonchalantly, like, it was one of them, but like swatted my stuff out of the sky.
Right.
It actually made me better.
Right.
Because I remember that moment. You know, they didn't know I said it. I'm saying it on the air now. And we don't remember the exact same time.
Right.
But I needed to get my game up.
Right.
To your point, they affirmed me. You think you're good, which you are.
Right.
But come in here
right.
and get blocked.
Right. We're going to show you something else. Right.
You got to do something else. And when I see them now, all in our professional glory,
right,
I'm still trying to get better at my shot.
Right.
As I hope that they're getting better at their shot. And
that's
I know
good.
they are.
Tommy, that's
these
good.
brothers gave awards. I'm like, oh, they still balling.
They're still balling, man. And I played ball with them. We went to Chicago, man, and played in the 3-on-3 tournament in Chicago, the open division. So we up there playing against pro athletes. So I had to speak in Chicago. So we played the game. We lost the game. It's a double elimination, man. So I went off to speak. I thought I was coming back to pick them up. They said, Eric, come on. We won one. What? Y'all won 2 of y'all against 3? Two against 3 and you won in the open division? Man, we went out there and balled into the night. And it was a double, so we had to lose. We had to win twice in the end in order to win the whole thing, man. We came back all the way to Cincinnati with the biggest trophy, man, having won the championship because of the way them boys could play too. So shout out to them and their family, man. Love them. Tommy, great show today, man. We want to thank our community for joining us for another wonderful diversity conversation. Take care.
Be blessed.